buddy.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. This is the morning show that we do every day at 10:30 Eastern Time, where I give my official MLB picks. Running a little bit late today because I just got finished doing a call on the Belmont Stakes with Joel Cunningham from TripleCrownInsiders.com, and he gave us a great breakdown of the Preakness in the last Triple Crown race, and people in the office noted how profitable his advice was. And I'm telling you, this call today that we did for the Belmont, excellent. This guy really does his research, knows what he's talking about. So look for that video at SBR Videos on our YouTube channel. The breakdown of the Belmont Stakes I just did with Joel Cunningham. I highly recommend that one. All right, so now we're going to talk baseball. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Matty Ice, as I say, win, lose, or draw. The low-hanging fruit wins every day. Yesterday was a slight winner. And the low-hanging fruit won again. Unbelievable. The Arizona -1 line.
Yeah, I actually took that in our contest last night.
Unbelievable. Yep. I also had a couple winners in the contest. Now I'm 9-5 in the contest. Not too shabby.
I haven't reassessed this morning, but I was 3-7 when I woke up yesterday. So
oh, well, you know, bad records are all over the place when you put your record up publicly. So I won about a half unit yesterday in my picks on this show, but low-hanging fruit once again. Just a casher, and I probably should. All right, so thanks, and of course everyone's talking about the Warriors game last night. Let's start with that. Basically, it confirmed two things, right? It confirmed that the two things that everyone was talking about. One, yes, the NBA is rigged. Two, the Warriors are historically awesome, and you can't even rig a game against them, right?
I guess. I mean, that's kind of what I was saying yesterday. That if the Warriors were 6 or so point better.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
Then it'd be much easier, but they're blowing them out by 20.
Yeah.
So the best they could do was keep it. What do they win by 6, 7?
Yes, and so I think that by 5, I think my approach to the game was actually right on. I said if there were robot refs, I'd be all over Golden State. But because we don't know what the deal is going to be with the refs, I'm just going to stay off it. And I think that proved out to be the right way to look at it, because the refs almost did give it to the Cavs, but the Warriors were so awesome that they couldn't. Right?
I mean, the Cavs really blew it at the end.
Yeah.
3 minutes, they didn't score a damn point.
But I mean, it's pretty clear that in general, the Cavs were getting some beneficial calls from the refs. You have something to say?
No,
okay.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
That's the crazy thing too, is the Cavs not only had every single call going their way,
yeah,
they also played a perfect game. All of their guys were firing until that last few minutes. And they still could not beat the Warriors.
So the big question now, I think everyone pretty much knows that they've ripped up their Cavs futures tickets, and they've penciled it or penned in their Warriors futures tickets. The question is, Game 4 betting value, where will that be? And I will be previewing that game with Al McMorty today.
Probably on the NHL finals.
Man, that is going to be an interesting game to handicap and to think about Game 4 coming up. But all right, so let's see. A lot of complicated. I just found out yesterday that all these great comments disappear after the show gets rendered, which kind of sucks. A lot of funny comments and a lot of supportive comments. Austin, I just look up and say, Austin Geist, what's up, Pistol? Love the show, man. Thanks very much. Dan Kelly saying spot on with the NBA reps. Yes. And he's saying, but you can't blame the NBA and the media. There is just too much money to be made. Hell yeah, I'll do anything for $50. You know, totally. I'm not saying that. I'm not blaming the NBA or saying they shouldn't be that way. I'm saying that it is what it is. And
something else I read yesterday that was interesting to me, but obviously didn't have that much to do with it. That the Warriors essentially stand to lose Curry's annual salary if they sweep.
Oh,
so they would lose about $22 million, because they would, I think, $12.5 million just on Game 5.
Oh, right. Yes.
They stand to make.
Yeah. And like I said, I would do. I mean, you know, just talking about millions of dollars here. I and most of our viewers would do almost anything for $50. So yeah, for sure. You know, the NBA is fixed, and understandably so. All right, so let's get into baseball. Because I just got finished doing the Belmont call, I have to refresh myself on what I liked and what I was thinking about last night. Seattle was once again a winner yesterday, and they came from behind. And I'm thinking about Seattle again today. It's let me see, what is the pitching match?
$22 million isn't nothing to anybody. $22 million is a lot of money to everybody.
It's Gibson against Bergman, and I did bet Seattle -1 on the overnight line. Gibson better in his last start, but then once again he tired out, and just a guy who doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. Bergman has been, excuse me, Bergman has been good in 3 out of the 4 games that he started so far. Kind of a little bit of a surprise, although I think they expected him to be that decent, to be that serviceable. So I did bet Seattle on the overnight line at -1, and I guess I will. What the hell? I guess I will not be a pussy here, and I will give that one Seattle -1 once again at plus money. Okay, that's not necessarily the low-hanging fruit. That's just a pick that I feel is solid. I'm going to use the bet online line for the money line, which is -122, and the run line part at a bunch of places, the Greek and others, plus 160. So once again, getting Seattle at home as at some dog money on the -1 line. And before the series started, I said that Minnesota was clearly the most profitable team in baseball on the road in terms of ROI, but I didn't expect that to continue here, and it hasn't. Seattle also has been a profitable team at home, and now I believe they have the pitching edge in this game as well. All right, so let's see other things that I bet on the overnight. In the White Sox-Tampa Bay game, I took a pretty healthy shot with the over 8 in White Sox and Tampa Bay with Holland and Odorizzi. Holland, of course, has been unexpectedly excellent this year, regressed a little bit recently, and I think we should expect him to regress at least somewhat going forward. And I got 8 on the overnight line. Let me see if that is still available. Let me see. Where the hell is that? Let me pull up the totals here. SBRodds.com is what I use, of course, for all my line shopping needs here. Yeah, there are some 8s available. There's actually an 8 minus. Wow, it looks like the line has gotten bet down, which makes sense because yesterday was a low-scoring game. I took a shot with the over, and I got a bad line. I took over 8 -118, and now I could be getting -105. So that is not a great sign. But Odorizzi's been also a little bit shakier recently, and Holland, if Holland regresses, that's a relatively low total. And I'll tell you what else I did. You know what it is, Matty Ice? It is Edinson Volquez Day, not because he's an auto fade, because I don't believe he is anymore, but because he's coming off a no-hitter. And as you know, we like to fade people who are coming off of no-hitters in many situations. That number, I did get a good one on the overnight line. I also took over 8 -118. Now that's solidly up to 8.5 at a favorite line on the over. So that one, I beat the line move on that one by about a half run. Cole, of course, has been getting absolutely shelled for 3 starts in a row. What's going to happen here? Not exactly clear. What's going to happen here? Not exactly clear.
No.
Will Cole have another bad start? But Miami has bats, though. We know that.
That's true. Maybe an over.
Yeah, another bet I made again, despite the fact that Corbin is Pat Corbin is a guy who has been getting hit recently, and I faded him accurately as actually my low-hanging fruit one day against Miami recently. Once again, I took Arizona on the -1 line, and that's mostly just a bet on Arizona's awesomeness at home. Right, we saw it yesterday. Sooner or later, they went down early, but then they came back and pulled it out. And I'm feeling like once again here, despite the fact that Corbin is very iffy, it's just they have the overall team edge, and at that low of a line, at in the -130s, I took them again. The Diamondbacks struggle against lefties. Richard, not great, but he can be okay. He faced them 3 times this year, so we have a big sample size with Richard. Twice at home, both were great, but he did pitch against them once at Chase Field and got crushed. So, the roof is going to be closed here, so, that'll help him out a little bit. But again, it just feels like, once again, at this line, Arizona -1 has got to be worth a play. And you know what? I will throw that one on there. Arizona -1 also as an official pick. I'll take the Greek -131 on the money line, and the run line part will be plus 155 at Pinnacle and a bunch of other places. So again, Arizona -1 at plus money, despite the fact that Corbin is starting and has been struggling. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Another game that's interesting. Let's just talk about it. I didn't bet it, and I probably won't, is the next start for David Price, right? First start was a little shaky. Second start was a lot better. He says he's, feeling good, expects to be even better going forward. Pineda's coming off a bad start, and I think that he'll probably go back to his form that he showed before that, where he was like a 6-inning pitcher giving up 2 or 3 runs. But question is, what to expect from Price? And Price looked very good in his last start, didn't he?
Very good. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. I mean, especially considering it's 2 coming off the DL for so long.
Yes.
I mean, it was hardly on the DL. He just didn't start the season.
Yeah.
To extended spring training and everything.
So
he got stretched out properly. It's not like he got stuck on a 10-day DL just fucking around the trainer's office at least.
The issue here is that the Yankees are so good in general. Pineda, is reliable, I feel, and I feel like he is going to have a good start. So I was thinking about Boston +1, but I'm going to hold off on that one. It's
Yankees are rolling so hard right now.
Who?
Yankees.
The Yankees, yeah, definitely.
CC Cy Young Sabathia yesterday.
Yes, and I had the under yesterday in the contest. 9.5. That was one of my contest winners. I also like the Yankees, but didn't have the balls to pick them in the contest. All right, so then there is that one, and what else do we have today? The McCullers-Hamill matchup didn't have an overnight line, or didn't have an early overnight line, so I actually haven't looked at that one. I correctly called this series. Remember Matty Ice, and I told it to Drew Martin. I said, Houston was coming off the sweep at Texas, which I also predicted, and I predicted here though that they might have a harder time at KC, and they've now lost 2 out of 3 games. And yesterday, what did I say? What did I say? I said I would take KC or nothing at the big underdog line, right?
They won 4-3, I think.
No, I think they won 7-5. It was actually a higher scoring game. Yeah.
In any event, I took that and got a nice win.
Yes.
Contest yesterday.
Now, I did also mention to Drew Martin that this game with McCullers against Hamill is one that I was looking to take Houston on, and I may well wind up doing that. But at these odds, I got to look into it more. I can't just because I didn't look into it on the overnight because the opener wasn't an early opener, and at that big of a line in KC here, you got to make sure you're okay with it if you're going to take that big of a road favorite line. So I'm gonna pass on that one. But my initial thought on that one was to take Houston. But again, I'm gonna be very, very careful with that one. And then another. Good,
I'm in 217th freaking place.
Really?
Well, it was yesterday.
It's not so bad.
I probably broke 200 last night.
It's not so bad.
No.
I mean, come on. Don't be so hard on yourself, right?
Well, that's that.
I mean,
that's the high pitch fake.
Yeah.
You can't throw it at me now.
Another bet that I made that might be
looks fat in that test.
I made this bet before the Baltimore game went into extra innings, so I have to check their bullpen situation. But I took the under 9.5 in Baltimore, Washington. Washington, of course, is coming back from the West Coast from a 3-series West Coast trip, and we've got Ross going against Asher. Asher had a good start in his, Asher, is no great shakes overall long term, but he did serviceably in his last start, and Ross has been absolutely horrific, but still missing bats, and there is some reason to believe that he'll come back here with a better start. And at 9.5, I took a shot with the under. Now that was before the Baltimore game went into extra innings, so I hit that one early, and the Baltimore game wound up going into extra innings. So I have to check the specific bullpen situation to see if I want to stick with that one. But that will definitely be at very least a lean here. Baltimore and Washington under 9.5, and I did bet that one. Let me see if it's still 9.5. Oh, it's getting bet down. Yeah, 9.5 minus 129 at Pinnacle. So let's see. What have I given so far? I've given Seattle -1. I've given Arizona -1. I've given Washington, Baltimore under as a lean. And the White Sox Tampa Bay over is at least going to be a lean. I might give that one as a pick later on. But that's about it. That's about it for now. And then Miami and Pittsburgh, I have to figure out what the hell I want to do there. The first 5 innings over might be the way to go on that one. Let me check what line would be available right now. Miami, yeah, it's 4.5. 4.5. So, considering that Cole does have that pedigree, and Volquez, is coming off of a no-hitter and has been. And Volquez, in his defense, he's coming off a no-hitter, but his last 5 starts were all pretty decent,
Yeah, he's not a bad pitcher. He's just having a bad.
He just had a really bad start to the season. So he should not have been on the auto-fade list, and he's definitely now officially off the auto-fade list for me. But he is in a not great spot here, going on the road against Pittsburgh off of a no-hitter. All right, so let's get to some comments.
First one here, Warwick picks Tigers versus Angels. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm sorry?
Tigers and Angels game.
The Tigers and Angels game, yeah, that's an interesting one. Fulmer obviously has been great. How long can he keep that one up? I would definitely be leaning Detroit, and I actually did bet that one very early in, I believe I got like -138 or something like that. It's now all the way up to -155. That's the best line you can get. The Chris books already even have 160. So Ramirez has been giving up a lot of home runs recently. I like Detroit here. At this line, though, I can't give it. I did bet it on the -1 line when it was much, much better on the overnight line. I would even might even give Detroit -1 as a lean here officially at the current line, which would be slightly minus money. I will give that one as a lean, not as a pick, but Detroit -1 as a lean. All right, let's go to some of these some of the comments here. Let's see, a lot of A lot of let's see, a lot of comments say about the Cavs game. A lot of people saying Tyronn Lue is a moron.
Oh
Tomarino Tomora.
His face at the end of that game was hilarious.
Yeah, so I'm gonna look into this game for it. But you know, it might be that, I mean, you got to figure the refs are going to be just like, whatever. We're going to try to give them a game again, and there might not be the magic that the Warriors will be able to pull out here. You know?
I don't know. I mean, is it?
You okay there? You okay there?
Is it worth, $12.5 million to the Warriors to bring it home and win it in Oracle?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the other thing is that Golden State is like, if they do lose Game 4, then so what? They get to win at home, which is, got to be in the back of their minds as well, right?
I think so. I mean, but then they don't want to do what they sort of did last year.
Yeah.
Or what has been happening, oddly, a bit more in the last decade or so, is blowing huge leads in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
We did see them push last year, breaking that one record. Most wins in the season. That's something that they did have in their mind. The fact that they played at the end of the season, the 16-0, it's got to be sitting in their heads too.
Yeah, that's true.
We're talking.
That's true.
Kevin Durant, the whole moving to another team and his legacy. Is it a fake championship because he pieced everything together? 16-0. It gives us a lot to talk about in the offseason. Who was the player this year? KD or LeBron?
And there is another angle, a marketing angle from the NBA, which is that if you do have a 16-0 team, that's like a horse winning the Triple Crown. It's like, okay, now everyone's paying attention to it. Now there's a lot more attention next year to see what they do in the beginning of the season. They can make all the ads about like 16-0 and blah 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 blah.
So it's like the ones for the Patriots, the 17-1 or whatever.
So maybe Adam Silver
had no idea that this had never been done before.
Maybe Adam Silver will actually give a call to the refs and be like, change your plans, guys. Let's make sure Golden State does win Game 4, and then we're going to do a huge marketing blitz with 16-0 before the regular season next year. What do you think about that? That makes sense, right?
I think it makes perfect sense.
I mean, you're a marketing director, right? If you had the opportunity to market that as opposed to just a team that was awesome, but no, 16-0 is something you can really.
It looks great on a T-shirt.
Yes, and on a hashtag, right?
Absolutely.
Like, what are you going to just hashtag Warriors are awesome? No, but if you hashtag Warriors 16-0, totally different. All right, let's go to. All right, yes, Jim Bean says if you bet on Hamill, you have brain issues. Yes, I mean I have brain issues, but I'm not those kind. I'm not going to bet on Hamill here. I just have to look into it more because it's such a massive road favorite, right? Okay, let's see let's see comments.
I like that comment.
Which one?
The one about Golden State wanting to get the win in Cleveland.
Maybe. I mean, sure.
Embarrassment.
Maybe.
In their face, a little payback.
I don't know. I'd like to be able to go to my own bar and sleep in my own bed after that night. But I get what you're saying. Rub their faces in it a little bit. I never really considered that. I always automatically go towards rather winning it at home.
Yeah. Send LeBron back into his locker room and say that in front of his audience. Why not?
Yeah.
Charles Darwin. Wow. Okay.
Not happy.
Charles Darwin. Okay, here we go. Charles Darwin says Corbin is low-hanging fruit to fade. He goes San Diego plus 127 wins today. Don't get fooled. Yeah, Corbin is terrible. I might be on the wrong side there, Charles Darwin. You might absolutely be right.
Screen. I did see though that. Well, first of all, two things other than happened last night too. That Steph Curry in the locker room said that he's going to the U.S. Open next week. So he's already he's like, we're done, we're good. And also, did you see J.R. Smith tweeted out that the Cavs are going to win in 7 and then deleted it?
Charles Darwin saying Corbin will get nailed today. Okay. All right. Yeah, a lot of Rich Banks says this show should be called Live MLB Preview with Low Hang and Low Shack. Nice one, Rich Banks. Unfortunately, that all these comments will get deleted after this, but I'm going to try to Low Hang and Low Shack. Yeah, a lot of Matt Tyus Shermanator says, "Hey Pete, you need a new name for the show." Yes. All right. A lot of comments here. All right. I gotta. Let's Kevin White saying, I can't believe you're in a suit now, Pete. Smack my head. Yeah, it's just because I just got finished doing the produced video that we did for the Belmont. So that's why I'm in a suit. That's why I am in a suit right now. All right. Let me think what I want to do here. All right, so far I have given Arizona -1 as a pick, and that is has been called the anti-low-hanging fruit by Charles Darwin, and he might be accurate with that one. He predicts that San Diego wins at +127.
Green banana of the day.
He might be right, except that, and look, it's such a low line. I was fading Corbin with, in his last start. I've been fading Corbin in general, especially in spots. But here, it's just, I feel like the Arizona has the team edge in general, and that Corbin should be good enough relative to what we'll likely see from Richard. Richard can be okay, though. Richard can be, a quality lefty similar to Ty Black and people like that. I'm on Arizona -1, though, and hopefully I don't get burned by that. Seattle -1, I am on. And what else do I also took a bet with the Minnesota-Seattle over. I took that one at 9, and that one is
we had a question
still at
about
9.
the Seattle team total also.
Yeah, the Seattle team total over might be worth a play. Let me just see. It's 4.5. 4.5 -115. That might be worth a shot as well. Let me let me check some of these team totals. Bless you, Matty Ice.
So it's not as quiet as I wanted.
Okay. And then team totals in the Miami-Pittsburgh game. Miami team total over 3.5, Pittsburgh over 4. Are both looking enticing to me as well. And then, of course, Feldman and Leak in the early game. Leak, of course, has been awesome this year, regressing a little bit, recently, and I do expect that to continue. And he'll have some nice starts that are reminiscent of what he was doing early on in the season. But in general, he should get hit a little bit more. And we saw, how Cincinnati can explode offensively, and Feldman on the other side is very vulnerable as well. Let me check what the first 5 innings total line would be on that one. Feldman and Leak 5. Yeah, that is tempting. I'm going to hold off on that one for now, but that is very, very tempting. The over 5 in the first 5 innings in St. Louis and Cincinnati, and first 5 innings over in Pittsburgh against Miami. Let me think. You know what? I will give that one.
What is that?
Screw it. 4.5 -115.
4.5.
Yeah, it's a little bit high, isn't it?
A little bit. It's okay.
That's a little bit high.
Sorry.
You know what?
We don't trust guys coming off a no-hitter. So
yeah, we don't.
Okay.
I'm going to keep that one as a lean. Actually, I'm going to keep that one as a lean. That's not an official pick. That is just sticking with my lean there. All right. So let's review everything. I guess you know what? I guess the low-hanging fruit of the pick of the day. Seattle, simple. Seattle -1 at plus money. Seattle -1 at plus money. Bergman has been serviceable. Minnesota, of course, great on the road. It's a little bit treacherous to take a team. Minnesota at some point is going to want to, come in and get a win. And Gibson was better in his last start. But still, one way or another, I think I'm leaning Minnesota here. And at the plus money, that's the low hanging fruit of the day. What?
Cynthia's behind you making faces.
Oh, okay, nice. All right. So I think I might just have 2 plays on the day. Let's review everything. St. Louis, Cincinnati, first 5 innings over 5. That's got to be a lean. It's not a pick. But
Sorry, say that again. Cincinnati, St. Louis.
Cincinnati, St. Louis, first 5 over. That's got to be a lean.
Over 5.
Yeah, over 5. The first 5 innings. Just considering who the starting pitchers are. Detroit -1. That is a lean. Although I can't make it a pick. It probably would have been a pick in the -130s, but in the -150s.
Oh, did you see Buck Farmer last night? Pitched like no one.
Yes, absolutely. And I had he was good. I actually that was a late pick that I wound up making on the over. On the under. I had a winner with that one, and I had the first 5 innings under on that one as well. I should have tweeted that one out, and I because I didn't give that one in the show because it was there was no overnight line, and I just hadn't looked at it yet. But all right, and then Arizona -1 I could be setting myself up for a fall here, but again, it's plus money, So if it loses, I just lose 1 unit. And Arizona's just been so dominant at home. We're going to need Corbin to find a way to not get crushed, and hopefully that will happen. Miami-Pittsburgh, first 5 innings over 4.5 is a lean. Baltimore-Washington under 9.5 is a lean. Boston, the Yankees, an interesting game. Someone made a comment that Price has not done well in Yankee Stadium. I agree with that.
True.
Yeah, that is true. That. Yes.
Destroyed there.
He does. But again, it's a little bit of a different situation here because, again, he's coming off the DL. He doesn't have any arm tiredness that he might have had in a lot of those other Yankee Stadium starts. So he might come here and continue his.
Also, not the easiest place to pitch.
Yeah, so that one's an interesting game. It's going to be a pass for me. Then the White Sox Tampa Bay over is definitely at least a lean. Do I want to give it as a pick? Oof, that is tempting. I'll hold off for now, but over 8 on White Sox Tampa Bay is definitely a lean. Philly Atlanta, I'm passing on for now. Chatwood Leicester is an interesting game. There was no overnight line for that, so I didn't look at it. Houston KC. again, I gave my opinions on that one. Have to wait a little bit. And then Seattle -1 is going to be the low-hanging fruit of the day. So you know what? A lot of leans. I gave my opinions on all these games. As far as an official pick 'em all, I'm just going to stick with 2. Seattle -1, Arizona -1. If one of those picks wins, it's a slight casher because they're both underdog lines, right?
Fantastic. I like the way you're thinking there.
All right, low-hanging fruit of the day is going to be Seattle -1 here on Thursday, and I guess that wraps it up. We're going to try to make these shows a little bit shorter. A lot of people, have commented that they're long. I can't tell. Maybe we can do some Google Analytics to see if they if it really matters, if they're better. Let's see, so some late comments here. Tomorino, I wouldn't bet against Seattle right now, though, especially with Minnesota garbage pitching. Yeah, I wouldn't quite call Gibson garbage. She's like headed to the garbage can. But his last start was actually good until
compost.
I'm sorry?
Compost, not quite garbage.
Until he faded late. So all right. Kevin Eduardo Vieira Ramos said, "You are awesome, Pete. Thanks for this." Kevin Vieira Edward Vamos, thanks so much. Alex Nogales, outstanding show. Thank you guys all for the comments. Really, really makes me feel good. And thank you so much. De Leon Johnson says, "Loshak the type to snatch up my girl." Oh yeah.
Thank you, man.
Oh yeah. I can snatch up people's women. I've been known to do that once in a while.
What's the card look like tomorrow?
The what?
Baseball.
Oh, full game. 15 games.
Find time to talk about your lady things going on.
Yeah, some funny stuff going there. Funny stuff. All right, that's about it. Let's wrap up the show. It was kind of a weird show today. Weird stuff going on in the background. A Belmont show that went overtime, but that's it. Just 2 plays today. Low-hanging fruit of the day, which continues to cash, is going to be Seattle -1.
Don't forget to subscribe, and come over and check out that Belmont video. It should be rendered in a few hours around lunchtime. Thanks.
Sounds good. Thanks for tuning in.